Of all of Tesla's vehicles to get delayed until 2022, this by far is the one that I really was hoping wouldn't, but at the same time, I think it's safe to say a lot of us are not surprised by this news. It was kind of inevitable, and honestly, it felt a bit weird that at the last earnings call, they didn't want to confirm this already. Maybe it would have looked bad for the stock price, and perhaps they were waiting to do this over the weekend because the stock market is closed and all that, but through the Cybertruck order page, which by the way, the Cybertruck webpage and that whole section of the website has basically remained unchanged since the original unveiling in November of 2019. They've done nothing with it. All the prices are the same. All the pictures are the same. We know the Cybertruck doesn't have door handles now, and there's likely some overall design tweaks with it, of course, so it's odd to me that they don't want to provide us with updates on production model or anything, but they are willing to go out on the record now and say that production nears in 2022, whereas before it used to say as production nears in late 2021. I'm not sure why there's several people out there thinking, well, this must only apply to new orders because there's just so many Cybertruck reservations that they obviously are going to push out new orders, because even if every single person who ordered a Cybertruck decides to go through with their order, then it's going to take years for people to actually get one if they ordered one now. But I would encourage people to remind themselves of the wording of the webpage, which is not deliveries will begin in 2022. This is not a delivery estimate window. This is talking about production nearing in 2022, and it used to be nearing at the end of 2021. Unfortunately, based on looking at how Giga Texas is going and knowing that the Tesla Semi has been delayed because of battery shortages, my guess is this is not just because of supply chains. I don't think it's necessarily the chip shortage that's impacting Cybertruck production. I do think that it's a certain aspect of Giga Texas construction rate and the fact that they want to prioritize Model Y. There's still casting presses that need to go in place for the Cybertruck, and there's still a ton of steel and walls and foundational work that has to go on before even Cybertruck parts and manufacturing equipment can be dropped off at Giga Texas, and we're not even there yet. So given we're 1 week into August so far and end of the year is only 4 months away, I totally get it, and I appreciate Tesla being more honest with the production window with the Cybertruck, but something to keep in mind as to why I think all of us should remain realistic about the Cybertruck deliveries. And keep in mind, when they say production is nearing in 2022, I really don't think that means January or February. If they were that close and they were just delaying it by a couple of months, I feel like they wouldn't see the point in updating the website, and they would at least use the terminology early 2022, and they're choosing to not even say that. They're just saying sometime next year, and the more vague the timeline, probably the more uncertain the timeline is, which means I don't think deliveries are 5 or 6 months away. But something we can be more realistic about is the fact that the Cybertruck, out of all of Tesla's vehicles, is probably going to be the most battery demanding, and it's certainly, I think, going to need the structural pack, the 4680s, which Tesla knows is in low in supply right now. And the main difference between the Cybertruck and the Model Y with 4680s is that it's just a much larger vehicle. This giant stainless steel exoskeleton that's the biggest Tesla they've ever built aside from the Semi. This is going to need a ton of batteries, and there's actually a lot of evidence online that the tri-motor Cybertruck will likely end up needing something like a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack, maybe even more, to give it a range over 500 miles despite all of that weight, you know, the tri-motor powertrain, the vault, all that steel, the built-in air compressor, those big tires and everything. It's not going to be a light vehicle, which means it's gonna need a ton of batteries. Even the dual motor Cybertruck will likely need a battery capacity well over 100 kilowatt hours, and while the price of those batteries is coming down, and I think Tesla will be able to deliver somewhat closely in the ballpark of those original Cybertruck prices, because of the insane demand, which is rumored to be well over 1 million reservations for this truck, that means Tesla has hundreds of thousands of reservations for vehicles that are probably going to be looking at 120 or over 200 kilowatt hour battery packs, and that's just going to take a crap ton of 4680s that they simply just don't have access to right now. So even if Cybertruck does begin in the second quarter or the summer of next year, the ramp-up process is probably going to be substantially slower, and as Elon Musk has talked about, this is just such a drastically new vehicle, and there's so many new manufacturing techniques with this one. They're going into uncharted territory that they have not done before, and Elon has said no other vehicle like this has ever been mass produced before, so there could be a lot of complications and issues that arise during the mass production process. And as a huge fan of the Cybertruck, I'm upset to see this officially confirmed, because there was some tiny hope in me that Giga Texas could, you know, ramp up Model Y real quick and then Cybertruck would be right around the corner. But this honestly is not looking too good for even a first half of 2022 deliveries for me. Typically, if a company is not saying, you know, a specific month and they're just giving you a generic year, that's when it's typically safe to say late that year. And I think it's actually possible Cybertruck might be ending up looking like a year late instead of just a couple months late. I hope I'm wrong here, but I just want to keep expectations realistic, and I do hope Tesla could at least one day update us with the production model and what some design changes are going to allow for. At least this delayed window should give them the opportunity to try to get some laws passed to allow them to make the Cybertrucks without side view mirrors. Definitely gives them some time to work on the windshield wiper design and obviously iron out the kinks with the 4680, and it's probably good for them to test it out on the Model Y first to figure out what works and what doesn't, how they want to manage that cathode and how they want to ramp up these batteries. But I think out of all of Tesla's vehicles, simply because of the insane demand of the Cybertruck combined with how many cells the Cybertruck needs, this is going to be an insane bottleneck on 4680 production that the Model Y just simply isn't, because Fremont is going to keep using 2170s in their Model Y. Same thing with Giga Shanghai, and Giga Texas and Berlin are going to be using 4680s for the Model Y, but substantially less batteries because the vehicle is smaller, more efficient, and it's just going to be overall lighter. So scaling production of that, I understand why it's the priority, although it just bums me out a bit. I'm curious if you guys have any updated timelines on when you think the Cybertruck is coming. I'm just honestly at this point really hoping that Ford is not the first electric truck on the market. I'm really hoping Rivian R1T will be the first all-electric pickup truck that hits the market in customers' hands. And I was hoping Cybertruck would be right after that, but now I'm feeling like, oh geez, okay. If Rivian slacks even longer, there might be a chance that the F-150 Lightning is the first electric pickup truck to come out. Oof. Okay. It's a step in the right direction anyway, but feel free to let me know your thoughts. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.